Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and today I'm looking at Buzz Aldrin's Space Program Manager, a niche strategy game from a very much a niche strategy game publisher. Matrix Games, Slytherin, they make a bunch of really small, really focused strategy games, although they are creating the new Warhammer 40k game, so they clearly have big goals. But yeah, Buzz Aldrin is as big as they come when you're talking about space programs, and this is a modern day update of the classic 90s strategy game Buzz Aldrin's Race into Space. Well, the original is actually available for free, although they've dropped the Buzz Aldrin endorsement because he's not signed on anymore. Instead, this version recreates it according to similar rules and expands it. It allows you to either play as the Global Space Agency, or you can take on the Russian, the Soviets, or the American space program, and either play against yourself, against prestige goals, or against a computer player, or in multiplayer mode. And you can just see all this awesome this intro here, I guess, showing the stuff that's available. But let's just skip over into the main menu so we can see what's going on. Oh, and isn't that nice? I'm glad to see Buzz Aldrin's name stuck over a bunch of Soviet-era hardware. That, of course, that was the Soviet lander design. I think this might be an American biosatellite, though, but not 100% sure. That is definitely a Soviet. That's probably Alexei Leonov attempting his spacewalk. And we've got this one again. Well, okay, so we have a multiplayer. The multiplayer requires you to log on to their network. It's basically play by email. Single player game, well, you have two options. You have campaign or sandbox mode. Campaign is obviously limited by requiring to keep the upper echelons, the politicians, keep them happy by generating enough prestige. If you get enough prestige, you get more money. If you don't generate the prestige, then you don't get so much money and your program slowly dies a death. They have, since the original release, it was originally released about a year ago to early access, and all they had was the Global Space Agency, and I remarked that it was rather dull because there wasn't really any competition. So now you can either select the Soviet or the American campaign, and you will have a competitor out there to deal with. But let's start. I'm just going to do normal mode. Is actually easy mode, right? There's normal, hard, and Buzz hard, because Buzz Aldrin is awesome. Then NASA has been established, despite the fact that it's 1955, 3 years before NASA was actually established, but I guess they didn't want to deal with the weird politics of switching. Welcome to NASA Administrator. My name is Dr. Werner von Braun. I'm an engineer specializing in rocket design and being a former Nazi. The duties in your newly appointed role involve managing the space agency by opening programs, hiring employees, allocating resources, and planning and executing missions. Behind me lies the space complex, the place from where all your management activities will take place. I suggest you start by visiting the headquarters in order to open your first program. I also strongly suggest you start the construction process for the Mission Control Center or Astronaut Center. Proceed, so we get a budget. So I need to get somewhere between 187 and 1875 prestige. I start with 250, so assuming we don't screw up too badly, we're guaranteed to make our first goal. Depending upon how much I get, I will get between 4,750 per season and 10,000 per season. This is, of course, I don't know, megabucks maybe? I don't know. It's imaginary space currency, to be honest. Okay, so this is the Space Center, and if I click on the magnifying glass, you can see that the buildings all have numbers and a purpose. You've got your Astronaut Center here, which is not yet built. Public Affairs, which will tell you how you're doing and how much the people hate or dislike the money you're spending. The headquarters is where you manage your mission control stuff. Mission control is where you actually launch, handle the missions, and that hasn't been built yet. But you have to recruit people for that. The museum, I guess, shows former missions. SET is your science, engineer, and technology, I guess. That's where you will research your missions. And the vehicle assembly building is where you will actually build missions. And so actually, right away, I should start building this, because I'm going to need to build a vehicle assembly building so I can start researching rockets. Similarly, Mission Control Center, we're going to need that so we can start recruiting some mission controllers. And I'm going to upgrade my science center right away, because I'm going to need more science dudes, and having a bigger thing lets me hire more people and maintain more programs. Okay, so I've got 5 scientists down here doing nothing at this time. One good way to start is to perhaps send them off on training, or I could possibly assign some of them to a mission. So let's actually start creating a mission. I can only see these numbers. It tells me what number of programs I have available. Well, the only number I have here is 12. That is going to let me research one of the near-Earth orbit systems. I could start researching space planes. That's actually not a bad idea, but I'll need some astronauts. Or, well, I could start that, or if I go back, I can research Earth orbiting research satellites. I have Explorer 1, that's a good option because it's a very light satellite that needs a very small rocket, so you can very quickly get into space for a bunch of prestige. Or you can go after the X-15. This is what the strategy is all about, and you're going to be facing off against the Russians who are doing the same thing. You can click on this to get some information, and again, information will tell you more about it. The Explorer comprises the launch and deployment of a satellite equipped with instrumentation, etc., etc. The Buzzopedia actually tells you what was launched. The Explorer 1 was only 13.97 kilograms. This is important because when you're building a rocket, you need something which can launch at least that mass into low Earth orbit. Now, if I go back out of here and select, say, the Pegasus satellite, and again, information, click on the information, Buzzopedia. This one is 1451, so that's a big jump in terms of the unmanned satellites. You can't see the kind of next steps up are really like unmanned lunar flybys and things like that. You can actually go to all the planets, but the campaign mode, the single player campaign mode, really concerns itself with going to the moon. And then you can continue from there and head out to Mars, should you be interested. Well, I guess I'm going to open Explorer 1. Why not? So I click here. Yes, I'm going to start researching it. And so what I do is I click on this, R&D mission components, and I assign some staff to it. So these guys are actually good. He's pretty good. And these guys are not getting quite so good. So maybe I should send them off to school for a while. Similarly, I can start up the space planes program. Why not? Space planes don't need launchers, that's the nice thing. So yes. Oh, I've successfully opened this, and I'm going to begin R&D on it. These guys need crewed spacecraft skills, so let's put them on that. And my final scientist research dude, I'm gonna send him off to school to learn about manned spacecraft. Okay, back to the launch complex. We've started our program. Oh, you know what? We will actually need some astronauts, so let's build that. We have a ton of money to start with. Okay, so you get 4 seasons per year, 4 quarters. And you'll see here, the current reliability of my space probe has gone from, what, 3% up to 20%? And the space plane has also gone up to about 25%. Now, this is going to matter when we actually try to launch these things. After each quarter, you get a little bulletin that tells you what's going on. So, the opposing faction has opened the following programs: Sputnik 2 and Vostok. That not sure that really makes that much sense to me, but never mind. Whereas we've opened up Explorer and the X-15 spaceplane. We've started building all these things. Great. Okay. The President of the United States addressed the nation in order to define the space program's priority. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best I'm terrible. Best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept. One that we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win. And the others, too. Again, somewhat out of line with history, because he did not make that speech in 1955. He was not president in 1955, I think. I could be wrong on that one. I'm pretty sure he wasn't president in 1955. And also, if he says in this decade, that would mean he wants to do it by 1960, which would be 10 years too early. Yeah, you can read all this. That's cool all the same. I like how we have these astronauts here that weren't part of the space program even. The budget assigned during each season remains constant during the first 4 years. After that, your prestige will be evaluated against target goals, which will determine the budget for the next 4 years. Please visit the Public Affairs Office, which displays the minimum and maximum target goals, along with a budget granted by achieving them. Great, let's see. Oh, she is my Public Affairs person. Number of seasons. I have 15 seasons to prove my worth to those politicians. And my projected improved budget will be 4,946 megabucks. I'm going to say megabucks because megabucks is what they used under the old thing. So I've built a mission control center. Let's hire some mission controllers. They have skills in various areas, and during the launches they will exercise these skills to prove their worth to you. Tanner McLaughlin, that is a pretty cool name. I'm going to take that. Tristan Kramer's not such a cool name, but I'll accept that too. Oh, this person knows a lot about spacecraft systems. That's a good one to pick. And oh, Alejandro K knows all about propulsion. So I'm getting specialists in all these areas. Who else can I pick? This person, I want to find someone that's good at crew and payloads, I guess, right? We've already got, no, he's good at crew and payloads. He's good at propulsion. Mission operations, someone that's good at that. 41, I guess I'll just go with Kenneth Kraft. Ken Kraft! Hire the recruits. So those guys will go off into basic training. They'll take 2 seasons, and then after that I can train them a little more. So let's do that, and then back to the space complex. We'll continue this. This will take a while to build. I want to continue the current season. So this improves. I'm currently splitting my load, which is probably a bad strategy, but it does mean that if the Soviets get one thing, I'll have a contingency program to recoup some prestige. Okay, so now the science center is upgraded. I'm going to hire, and since I have tons of money, I'm just going to hire. The maximum capacity has been reached. Great. I didn't really look at the numbers too much. Although, actually, this person's pretty awesome with space probes. Maybe I should ditch someone that sucks. Like this guy. Yeah, I'm going to take you instead. Hire recruits. Yes. So these guys will go off to training, and after they're finished training I can start assigning them to my spacecraft, or perhaps I can train them to be even better at things. Astronauts, we could hire a few astronauts now as well. So Chester Wing, Jose, Arthur, all these things come from the random name generator. Okay. Yes. Now, since we've got a vehicle assembly building, we can open a rocket program. And this is where, you have to make a strategic decision. If you remember, we figured out the mass of our Explorer spacecraft was about 10 kilograms, whereas the mass of the next step up was several hundred kilograms. So you could go with the Jupiter C, but it's not really useful for anything but that single launch. Or perhaps you could go with a bigger one, such as the Juno 2. Now that could at least launch spacecraft onto a lunar flyby, for example, right? Whereas the Thor Able could go even further. Or I could just go straight to the Redstone, right? The Redstone is of course the one that launched the Mercury. Could be a good idea, I'm not sure. And then the Atlas Agena will let me launch some of those heavier space probes. So it's going to take a lot more effort to research these things. Also, they're more expensive. But yeah, maybe I should just go straight for the Atlas. Why not? Well, I'll tell you why not, because I'm probably going to suffer. No personnel available to research it. So I could take someone that's already doing something and reallocate them, which would be nice. But I've kind of wasted my... I shouldn't have opened this because I'm paying per season. Well, never mind. Never mind. We've got that going. Back to the space complex and let's run another season. Yes, end this season. Explorer 1 is getting better, but it's waiting for some people to come out of basic training. We have some people that have graduated, people that are getting better, etc. Okay, so we have somebody that's getting there. Manage rocket programs. Is this person? This person is rubbish at rockets. I don't know why I'm doing that. Instead, I will go back and manage payload R&D, and I'll assign him to it because he's actually pretty good at crewed spacecraft. Max R&D, I can get this up to 97%. That's pretty decent. Okay. And I'll just wait. Oh, these guys have all come back, so let's send them back for more advanced training. And you're my mission operations specialist. You are crew and payloads. You are trajectory. And you are... Wait a second, who's my propulsion? You're my propulsion specialist. Make sure we do that. And I guess you're... No, wait, we've already got someone that's a specialist in trajectory. Spacecraft systems? Oh, let's do that again. Yeah, spacecraft systems are going to be checked quite a lot, so they're pretty important. Okay. Let's go back to the space complex and end the season. Do I want to end the current season? Yes. 63% reliability on the Explorer. 66% reliability on the X-15. I'm pretty sure the Russians are going to be able to launch before me. Aha, we have completed a graduated basic training. Oh, a significant technical discovery will boost the results of the R&D process by 20% over the next 7 seasons. Which is great because I get tons of people to assign to things now. So let's do that. Manage rocket programs. Start assigning people. Assign. So it just gives you the best guy by default at the top of the list, right? Back, and then we're going to manage these programs. Explorer 1. R&D mission components. We can do Andrew Hastings, Thomas Earl, the Duke of Earl. And if I come back, missions list, I can pair this up with the Atlas in theory. Oh, wait a second. Wait, is Atlas Agena? Yes, select that. So this is like way over the top. This is going to be hugely expensive per launch, but it does mean that I don't need to research the earlier technologies. So it's a gamble I'm taking early on, which is probably a foolish gamble since I haven't really played this game too much. So don't take anything I'm doing as any advice, any good ideas, because I'm probably terrible at it. Okay, I'm gonna research this thing a little better. Okay, so we've now got 4 guys working on this. We're starting to get towards a launch. What does it say is my... How long do I have? I have 12 seasons, and I have a couple of scientists sitting around doing nothing. Should probably open another space program, right? I mean, I guess I could manage the human-rated rocket, or I could manage... or I could send these guys off to training. Let's send them off to training. So, this guy's lousy at everything. We're going to need some more human-rated rockets experts, so let's send him off on that. If we scroll, this guy here, advanced training in... yeah, human-rated rockets. Well, wait, or regular rockets. Maybe we'll need someone that's better at regular rockets. Let's do that. Okay. So they'll go off and do their training. Interesting to note here is you can scroll up and down like 13 people, and then you have to click this if you want to see the last one. The original UI for this was like a 1990s crappy UI. The original Buzz Aldrin Space into Game. Buzz Aldrin's Race into Space had a crappy 90s era UI. This has a crappy 21st century UI, to be honest. But it's really fun to read through the Buzzopedia, the Wikipedia entries on all these rockets. Of course, you can find out what's going on and how they all worked. It'll tell you about a bunch of missions that never actually existed or never actually were flown but were envisaged by NASA or the Soviet Space Agency. You can attempt to build a mini shuttle and fly it to the moon. There is no news this season. No news is good news, one would imagine. Okay, so this is research. Nobody's come back from training. Let's just finish that. And we get some more research. 79%. We're almost flight ready on that. But we don't really have a rocket capable of carrying it anywhere. We need to get this researched more. So this thing, the reliability is going up more slowly because it's a more complicated program. No, yes, following astronauts have graduated. Yay! Following flight guys have done this. And we get a prestige boost just by doing nothing. This is where the game kind of shows its board game roots, where it was originally derived from a game called Liftoff. And I'm just going to train a couple of these astronauts in piloting because I think we're going to need that skill. And I'll send these guys to learn about science. And you can train them in fitness. All these things are tested during missions to see whether they're, you know, how successful the mission is. Okay, back to the space complex. End that season. Just hope the Russians don't launch. This satellite is ready to go as far as I'm concerned. And this, 88%. Do I risk flying an X-15 for prestige? Oh, a significant technical discovery. That's what I like to hear. And a couple of scientists have come out. We've got some rocket skills and human-rated rockets. There we go. Let's see if I can improve my rocket programs here. So this guy can be replaced with him, who's far better at such things. But we don't have a human-rated rockets program, do we? I guess I could manage the rocket program and bring up... wait a second. I could open a rocket program that's human-rated and start slowly working towards it. It's generally not that efficient, but... you know what? That's suborbital. Well, let's go straight for the regular Atlas. And we'll put this one dude on it. This guy, right? And this guy. So we've got a couple of people actually working on my human-rated rockets. I am just burning through cash like there is no tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to go one more month, and then I'm going to send or one more quarter, and then I'm going to launch... when the astronauts come back from training, that's when we're going to launch the X-15, actually. Just hope the Russians don't launch before then. Ooh, yes, very dramatic music. I can sense the impending launch coming upon us. Mission controllers are ready, but I can't really afford to send any of them off to training because we may need them in the next quarter. And I guess do that. Okay, 89%. As soon as these guys finish, they will be reassigned to other missions, which is good. Proceed. NASA bulletin. The following astronauts have graduated, which means it's time It's time. It is time that we attempted to launch one of these. Okay, manage programs. The X-15 experimental space plane. We're gonna schedule a mission, assemble it now. So we have to assign a flight team, right? So we have, you see, this is what the training has done. The flight director, I think that's based on his weakest skill or some combination or something. I'm not really sure about that. Going to confirm those assignments. Now we need to assign a pilot, and his main skill has to be leadership. So we're going to get Chester Wing, which is pretty appropriate for somebody that's going to fly a space plane. Okay, confirm the assignments. It's going to cost me 615. We're almost ready to go, and yeah, we've got a mission controller sitting around doing nothing. What can we do with him? Or her, him. It's definitely him. Let's train him in mission operations just to round out his skills. That should make him a good flight director for now. And yeah, let's keep that going. Back to the space complex. End the season. And we're going to find out how this works. Okay, so Explorer 1 is at 91% reliability. My Atlas Agena, my unmanned booster, is up to 56%. I probably really messed this up completely. I should have just gone with the regular Juno. And this is at almost 95% reliability. Is that enough? We'll find out. Launch the mission and we'll monitor it from mission control. So you get this kind of animated guide to what's happened. So each of these steps shows is like a stage where they test these reliability percentages, right? So the vehicle has like a 95% chance of doing well, and they'll test it at each of these. But if it fails, then it's possible that one of the flight controllers can solve the problem with their skills, or even the pilot can solve that. So let's start this. There we go, taking off under, what is it, a B-52, modified B-52. Oh, there's been a problem and the flight controllers are working on it to fix it. So we go, oh, systems nominal. The flight controller succeeded. That was a lucky break there. Pre-launch preparations. Ready. Success. Drop from the plane. Pilot takes control. Success so far. Engine ready to fire. And off we go, heading up. Oh no, there's been another problem. Flight controllers fix it. Systems remain nominal. Mission step name, ascending to the skies. Success. And descent. This is the X-15. It had a single nose wheel and landing skids at the rear. The X-15 was one of the most Kerbal things that ever came out of the US space program. Yeah, it was basically a little flying rocket with, or a little manned rocket with wings attached. So anyway, we successfully got some prestige, we got an achievement, and also our X-15 got a little bit of a reliability upgrade from information learned. Now, to be aware, you have to be aware that if you launch too early and you get failures, then your reliability can actually go down. And that can really hurt you. In fact, sometimes reliability penalties from failures mean that you pretty much need to abandon a specific rocket design and go elsewhere to get your prestige. Now, of course, what I've done is I've earned the prestige by spending the cash, and that prestige, we want to make our goal every 4 years to make sure we stay ahead of our funding goals. You lose prestige, incidentally, if the other team actually hit some goals ahead of you. Being second isn't quite as cool. Now, we could research some other stuff. We can go after Project Mercury if we like. That is, of course, one-man thing. You can skip Mercury if you like. You could go straight to Gemini. You can do a whole bunch of different things, but I'm sure there's a bunch of complicated mathematics going on the back end to decide just how good this is going to work for you. It is really all about numbers and gambling. You place your bets, you put your money into various things, and maybe you win, maybe you lose, and if you lose, you pay hard. It is not a game for your average Kerbal Space Program player. It's a game for nerds that like pretending they're managing a space program, for reading about it, for numbers. As I said, it's a niche product for a very specific kind of player. And if you think you might like it, you should go and check out the original Race into Space, which is available for free. Or you could just buy this if you're the kind of guy that likes to support it. As I said, the developer of this does cater to a very niche audience. But maybe you are in that niche. I mean, if you watch this channel, you probably have more than a passing interest in rocketry. So yeah, the game is Buzz Aldrin's Space Program Manager. It's from Matrix Games Slytherin. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.